just go ahead and get started here. So welcome everyone. I'm Bree, the brand leader of LEXReception, and we have Natalie, our CEO, joining us. And we're excited to start the webinar on taking your office anywhere. We, of course, want to be mindful of your time. So with that in mind, we're going to get started. We're going to be streaming live on Facebook. So if you're here with us on Facebook, drop us a comment or an emoji so we know you're here. The webinar is going to last about 30 minutes. We'll present for the majority of that time, and then we'll leave a little bit of time at the end for Q&A. So if you have any questions, please put them at the Q&A button at the bottom. And then feel free to use the chat on the side for conversation, any banter. We want to have some fun with this webinar today. And then at the end, we also have Celia here. She's going to fire us off the questions that you have for us. So with that, I'll go ahead and hand it over to Natalie to get us kicked off.
Awesome. Thank you, Bree. So before we dig into this for you all, let me tell you a little bit about our company and how we've evolved to this place. We started way back in the 90s in a garage in the telecommunications space, and we've grown and iterated over the years. We're now part of a global company which spans 3 continents, multiple countries, several states, all here in the US. We service clients all over the world, and we're continually invigorated by the success stories that we get back from our happy clients. We've always had a passion for small business and entrepreneurship, and our service offerings have always focused on helping our clients thrive. In taking our company anywhere, we've seen huge wins, and this has really propelled us to want to help our clients experience those same wins. We are so excited to share with you some of the lessons that we've learned so that you too can get on the road to anywhere. Now, speaking of anywhere, our transformation began back in 2007. Our business was growing, and we had some tough choices to make. We could move to a larger space and grow what was already a cube farm, or we could try something new. We jumped on board with new technology and a lot of optimism, and we made a bet on anywhere. Our first experiment consisted of renting an apartment above a dry cleaning business, which was across the street from our call center. We set up one of our virtual receptionists there to work. It was definitely not glamorous, but that's literally how we started. Around the office, you could hear many of us saying things like, "Hey, I'm heading over to the dry cleaners." And if you didn't know about the experiment, you probably thought that we just had a very expensive laundry habit. So 2007 was kind of the kickoff of this. And if you'll recall, 2008, 2009 was the recession. So just like every other business, we didn't know what was going to happen. But instead of seeing a dip in our business, LEXReception saw growth. Many offices needed to downsize, and our virtual receptionists were able to do a great job, deliver value, and not need to be physically in the same location as the businesses that they were helping. So this was a huge kickoff. On our side, we saw some changes as well. The job market was changing, and we found that we were able to attract a higher caliber candidate for a virtual role than we'd been able to do when everybody had to come into the office. So for us, the timing of technology and the necessity created by the economy really helped launch our business and our clients' businesses into this model of working from anywhere. Today, we're going to pull from over 12 years of experience leading and working from anywhere, and we plan to go into tips, tricks, and tools that you too can use to take your office anywhere.
Thanks, Natalie. So talk to me briefly just on, if people don't know in here, what is anywhere?
Really good question. It's so ingrained in our minds that it's easy to talk about. Anywhere is the term that we use for the way that we work. Other terms that I'm not as big of a fan of would be remote or distributed or telecommuting. It means that you're not bound by an office. Remote sounds pretty negative to me. It means you're out in some remote destination, maybe you're alone, maybe you're isolated. We don't want it to be that way, and truly it doesn't have to be that way. So we use the term anywhere because anywhere could be in an office, in a home office, at a coffee shop, or meeting up when it matters with your team members.
Absolutely. We have had many meetings anywhere at a coffee shop. It's not the best for every day, but when you're in a pinch, anywhere works. One of the biggest reasons why we're passionate and want to help other businesses scale anywhere is really to help increase productivity by not being tethered to your desk or having to be in your office in order to make the wheels spin. I want to go into some tools that we recommend. So right after this, you can really start implementing. One piece that is crucial to an organization or a firm's transition to anywhere is the calendar. You have to be able to know when you're going to be where your staff's at in order to keep everything organized. There are many tools in the marketplace to help accomplish this. And let me just say, if you're still working from a paper calendar, you're definitely not alone. However, just to plant the seed to start thinking about getting your calendar web-based, this is going to really help. Like I said, there's a lot of them out there. We recommend Setmore. It's very user-friendly and it allows for what's called a booking link. If you aren't familiar with what this is, it's just a custom URL that you can give to your clients. Mine is like www.setmore/Bree/LEXReception. And you're able to provide that to your clients or your leads in order for them to self-schedule. You can also share this with staff members. So it gives everyone the ability to have transparency with the calendar. Now, once your calendar is in the cloud, it makes it really easy to start to scale other areas of your business because you'll be able to share, again, that transparency. It'll be easy to outsource this piece. Now, don't get scared when I say outsource. This just means that you and your staff are not actually doing the work. Now, I know that we're talking about a lot of technology. In order to bring this all together, it takes tech. But you never want to lose sight ever of your human connection. You always want to ensure that calls are being answered every time with a live, warm receptionist. And you might be wondering, well, how? How can I do this? I'm one person, or I have one receptionist that's part-time, maybe a part-time paralegal. Well, you can accomplish this with the second tool that we recommend, and that's LEXReception, or an answering service like Lex. Lex has been a game changer for us and for our clients to be able to respond in real time to customers and leads that are inquiring about our services. A missed call could be thousands of dollars for our clients and for us, potentially a bad review. And we really can't put a price on our clients' happiness when they call in and always reach a live person. With us, it's the expectation now. I remember when I used to handle phone calls, and at least once per shift, I would answer the phone and someone would ask, "Are you real?" I would chuckle a little bit, and obviously they didn't expect to get a live person. I usually worked the later shifts, so I think they were expecting a bot or a voicemail. So that always started the call off on a great note. We've also heard stories from our clients when their clients would walk through the door and be bummed because they saw an empty receptionist seat, and they thought for sure they would get to talk to Molly or to Beth, the kind receptionist they talked to just a couple of days before. So these kind of stories are really fun for us. And lastly, I want to share a stat from Forbes magazine that really hits home for us and why, a piece of why we do what we do here at Lex. Forbes reports that 80% of people who reach voicemail will hang up. In today's world, we're searching around really more than ever on our tiny mobile devices and looking for that click to call, talk to the firm, hear what they sound like. When someone is looking at hiring us or our clients, they really want to get that first impression. And if it's a voicemail, many times people will hang up.
Excellent. Thank you, Bree. So now that we've given you some tools and recommendations, and by the way, feel free to take a screenshot of this slide. It's really helpful. You'll have access to the presentation later as well, but this slide is key. Now that you have some of the tools and suggestions from Bree, I'm sure some of you have questions and possibly worries about this whole idea of taking your business anywhere. We want to go over that as well. To be successful, it's not only about the right tools and the right technology. That is essential, but it's really about connecting, collaborating, and having the right people. The biggest question that we get about working from anywhere really ends up being around trusting employees. People will ask, how do you know if people are actually working? How do you know there won't be noises in the background, television, babies, dogs, Amazon ringing the doorbell, these types of things? Uh, the answer really points back to setting the right expectations and having the right tools. With our Anywhere Work software, we're able to see the activity thread of our team members minute by minute. We're able to see what everybody is doing. This application records everything from the video calls that people have with their team members or with their groups, to individual chats, to the location that they're working from. Also, away status or here status. So if there isn't any activity or movement, we know that person has stepped away. This is really essential, and puts the right tools in your hands as an employer or as somebody who owns a business and really cares about what's happening at home. So as we talk about this, as I mentioned, we've got over 12 years of experience leading into this, and definitely some success stories, but our trajectory has not always been rainbows and unicorns and home runs. We've definitely struggled along the way, and we've learned some key lessons. As a small anecdote, my very first day at home, I decided that I was going to choose my one day per week would be a Friday. I wanted to avoid that terrible Friday traffic. And I thought I had come up with a brilliant plan. My plan was, instead of waking up at 5:30 in the morning and having to jump on the road and commute and have my coffee on the go, I'd get up at 7:30. My first meeting was at 8 a.m. and I thought this would be great. I also decided on my first day ever working from home that I might be in loungewear and not really get ready for the day. Long story short, it was terrible. It was one of the worst work days I've had because I felt completely off all day long. I realized that for me, I needed to have a routine. I needed to set myself up for success. And I didn't realize prior to that experience that I really counted on those couple of hours of mental preparation for work. So, some basic key tips for success when you're wanting to set up your team members to work from anywhere and do so really well. Have a dedicated workspace. Don't be like me and think that you can work at the kitchen island. Have an office. Get yourself set up with someplace that is specific for work. Have a schedule. Bree mentioned the Setmore calendar. I use that. We all use that internally to keep track of what our days will be. And that's a way to be not only available, but also transparent in what the work will be. Speaking of transparency, have an application. We use Anywhere Works. There are many out there so that you can see what your team members are doing. Also, start small. You can always add to the idea of Anywhere. You can always add additional days or additional departments. But for us, we started team by team, department by department, and literally with one day at a time. That way we could really work out the kinks. We could be honest about what was and was not working. So you want to be strategic. Think about which teams and departments you send home first. And then something that probably should go without saying, but I think it's key to say it here. If you have a bad apple in the office, if you've got somebody who's underperforming or has other concerns, things are not going to get better when you send them home. Out of sight, out of mind, that is not a way to lead. And if you have concerns about a team member or a department or a team or any aspects, deal with that on the front end. Don't just send that person or that department home. I could go on and on about these key tips, but Bree, do you have anything that you want to add?
Those are really the big ones. I know for me and my personal sanity of working at home, I learned that I had to be right next to a window at all times. And I had to get myself a standing desk as well as a comfortable chair. We're in our chairs for 30 plus, 40 plus hours a week. So being able to get up, stretch my legs, have the standing desk has really been a game changer. And then when I get off of work, I don't have 2 steps on my Fitbit. I have a little bit more. So thanks for sharing those lessons learned. We have a lot more. So feel free to connect with us after this if you want to go deeper into that. We're at about the halfway mark, so keep in mind if you've got any questions, feel free to put those in the Q&A box at the bottom. Celia's monitoring those. And I just want to share briefly what Anywhere has meant to me, and then I'll pass it over to you, Natalie, to kind of do the same. I know that we can both talk for a really long time about Anywhere and how much we love it, but one thing for me that I want to share is I've worked here for over 10 years, and about 2.5 years ago, I think I saw my biggest win with Anywhere. My husband and I chose to move to Boise, Idaho from Portland, Oregon, where we pretty much lived our entire lives. And with him owning his own business as a home inspector, I really watched him hustle week after week to get his business ramped up from the ground level here in Idaho. For me, I took an extended weekend, mostly because apparently we had moved in the worst winter in over 30 years in Boise, and I personally needed time to relax and decompress, but that was my choice, just to take that one extra day. All in all, really everything changed in my life. But the one constant for me was my work. I didn't lose any time, and the predictability of my colleagues and my schedule, it really provided for peace and financial stability for my family. Because of Anywhere, we were able to really take a risk, and now looking back, we have a kiddo who's going to be 2 in September. It's really been the best decision of our lives. And we recognize that had I not had the job already lined up and waiting for me in Idaho to jump right into, we would never have been able to take this risk. So that's a little bit about me and my Anywhere story. Natalie, do you have something that you could share?
I have so many things I can share. Just as a sidebar, I remember when you moved across many states, and most people internally didn't even know. We have the location in our application, so suddenly people saw that Bree was in Idaho and no longer in Oregon, but it was business as usual on our side. For me, I used to commute over 25 miles each way to work. And with traffic, that could mean anywhere from 2 to 4 hours a day spent on the road. I now have a 5-year-old daughter, and I'm able to walk her to school in the morning because I have the flexibility of Anywhere. That's built into my job. I think about all of the working parents, the people pursuing higher education, the people who have pets, who could gain back that amount of time and still knock it out of the park. And I want to be able to extend this to others. On another note, Anywhere also has made me a better leader. I can connect with my global team around the clock with just a click of a button, and that makes me more accessible. I think it makes me more equitable. It's not confined to just who's sitting near me in a physical co-located office. So the why on a personal level has given me so much more time back to be a better human, and also has made me a better leader as I can connect with team members 24/7, 365.
Thank you for sharing that, Natalie. One of the things, I think the most important thing for us is our people. From the clients that we serve every day to every last employee, they're our passion. They're what makes our heart go pitter patter, and enriching their lives by helping to fit work into life rather than evolving life around work. That's our goal. As an Anywhere company, we've been able to retain employees much better than when we were entirely co-located. Natalie had talked about our first employee that we stuck above a dry cleaner's office, Geneva. She's been here for over 16 years. I personally remember the early pioneer days of working my first day from home, and many of those team members who blazed those early trails are still with us today. And considering at the end of the day we're a call center, that kind of employee happiness and retention is remarkable. This has also been huge for our clients. With LEXReception, we focus on providing answering service for the legal industry specifically. So generally our clients are solo to mid-sized firms. Most don't have a full-time staff, maybe one person part-time helping them out. And we've met some of our clients, honestly, they work from their cars. One of our attorneys has a basement office in the bottom of his house. They meet in coffee shops to do their meetings. So with a team like us at Lex, our clients are really able to portray a larger presence for their firms. Also, with our staff working to support them, they're able to do some pretty extraordinary things, like give their receptionist an uninterrupted lunch for once. We've heard from many clients that they were able to actually go on their first vacation with our service because they knew that we were holding down the fort back at home. So speaking of awesome clients and really always having a good time with one, this next slide is Ron Elzinga, and he has been a client with us for a few years, and anytime I get a chance to plug Ron, I will, and Natalie will back me on that because he is just such a fun guy. I love his story, mostly because we've heard it so many times at different events where he's evangelizing our service to anyone within earshot and that basically makes eye contact with him. He'll share how he tried many services before landing with us and how we've really been a game changer for his firm. Now, Ron doesn't get a bunch of calls, but he will recount that one of the first calls that we've ever taken for him, it was after hours, and he knows for a fact he would have missed that call had he been with the previous service that wasn't 24/7. This was a huge case for him and really put him on the map. I'm getting ready to head to Ashland, Oregon myself in August for the Oregon Trial Lawyers annual event. And I can bet that I'll see Ron running around in his cargo shorts with a tasty drink, happy as can be, carefree, without a cell phone glued to his ear because he knows that we're handling those calls for his firm. And his firm is able to thrive while he's chatting with his members and really having a good time at an event like this. So this is just one of the many stories that we have. And again, why people, whether it's our employees and or our clients, they just, that's what it is for us.
Excellent. So we talked a little bit about our personal why. Bree has talked about a huge portion of our why, which is our people, and our people are our clients and our internal folks. Another aspect of why has to be planet. We began in Portland, Oregon. It's kind of a naturally green place to launch from, and that's really embedded in our culture. There is no planet B. And as a company and as individuals, we get to make choices, and our choices can be impactful. Working from anywhere allowed us as a company to scale down from a huge office that was over 10,000 square feet to just a 750 square foot hub where we meet up when it matters in Portland. Our hub is also inspiring. It promotes working from anywhere, and there's lots of cool aspects there. But when we think about planet, the average American spends 51 minutes a day on the road. I spent longer than that. There's a study that came out in 2017 stating that 29% of greenhouse gas emissions in the US came from transportation. Taking your office anywhere, even one day per week, can have a huge impact to our planet, to our air quality, to what's happening. And so this is really key for us. Finally, though, when we take a look at our why, we want to look at prosperity. We want to look at purpose. We're passionate about anywhere, and we're encouraging others to move forward with at least one day anywhere because we've seen huge wins. We're motivated not just by the traditional bottom line, which frankly, if this didn't make any business sense, we'd probably be having a different conversation, but we've seen these really big returns and big wins by changing our model. But the triple bottom line, people, planet, purpose, really fuel us and are really key to what we do here.
Great. So I hope that we have sparked your interest, potentially planted some seeds in how you can take your firm anywhere, perhaps just one day a week. We have a couple of minutes left. Looks like we've got about 6 minutes left here. So I'm going to open it up to Celia. I'm wondering if we have any questions.
It does look like we have a few questions. Fatima asked, how do you normally answer calls with Lex for attorneys?
So we have a lot of templates set up. We have a lot of kind of know-how and experience. We primarily work with attorneys. So the onboarding process is pretty simple. It's normally about a 45-minute call with our onboarding team specialist. And the reason for that call is to really get the custom verbiage to put into the script. So when our receptionists answer, we can sound like an extension of your firm. So I would say about a half an hour to 45 minutes, and normally same day or next day. So it's pretty easy to get set up. Natalie, do you have anything to add to that?
So Bree really covered it, but essentially we have all of the experience for answering in the legal industry, but that setup process and how we answer for your firm is really customized. And that's the cool part. Our goal is to have more of those moments where people walk into your office and they're looking for the receptionist who they spoke to. And that's the quality mark that we consistently hit. Celia?
Yes, we have another question for somebody that joined a little bit late. If we could please repeat what the software tools are.
Well, there are several, and so we could go through many of those. We talked about LEXReception, Anywhere Works, Setmore as some key tools from our side. We also collaborate through the Google Suite, and there's several others. We will be sending out this presentation, including the slide that has many of the tools that we use every day listed. And so anybody who joined a little bit late, I can definitely relate. It happens to me a lot. Don't fret. We are going to be sending out the entire recorded presentation as well as the slides, so you'll have an opportunity to revisit anything that you may have missed or want to see again.
And that touches base on another question. Scott is asking, what is one of the biggest advantages of using Setmore as an independent contractor?
I think there's a ton of advantages. So Bree discussed a bit, having a web-based calendar, it syncs with many other applications. As well, that booking page, which I use myself, I'm not an independent contractor, but the booking page has made my life so easy. Anybody here or externally can access my booking page and schedule time with me. I don't have to manage that. So magically, my calendar fills up with appropriate meetings. And with our clients, we see the same thing. So their calendar is available. This can be put on a website. This can be sent out via email. It could be used in a lot of ways. And it allows clients and potential clients to schedule time with you without needing that administrative aspect, without needing your time or your attention, or without, as Bree mentioned, accessing a paper calendar, which just gives me a headache.
And another thing that I love about Setmore is you can really divvy up the types of appointments. Let's say that you have new potential consultations, you know, those are 45 minutes, but your existing clients generally are only 20 minutes. So you can separate those out. So when someone goes on to schedule, whether it's like a receptionist service or the person themselves, they can see exactly what they're scheduling. And so you don't just have random generic appointments in there. It's very custom for why they're scheduling.
Well, it does look like we've covered all our questions. Natalie and Bree, is there anything else you wanted to cover before we wrap up?
Just from our side, a huge thank you to everyone who took time today to join us. As I mentioned, we will be sending out an email shortly that'll include this presentation, and as a bonus, we have a couple of special offers for you all. We are so passionate about working from anywhere and really about spreading the word and spreading the why, spreading the how, that we're going to give you kind of a jump start to try out some of the key tools that are important to us and hopefully get your office on the road to anywhere. Now, I also know this presentation was pretty short and sweet, so please, please, please reach out to us with additional questions, anything else that we can help with. We would love to help guide you through this exciting transformation and talk a bit more on how this can work for your business. Bree?
You really nailed it, Natalie. Thank you for the time. We'll get that email out, and feel free to connect with us also on social media. We'll have this up there. If you think of further questions, please reach out. We would love to chat with you separately, and we just really appreciate your time. So thanks for joining us today.
And go anywhere.
We'll see you anywhere.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.